The catalyst for change. A crisp spring morning unfurled over Atlanta, Georgia, where Marcus Johnson sat in his sunlit kitchen, sipping coffee and flipping through a report on his airline, Horizon Airways. The pages were filled with metrics, passenger satisfaction scores, and future expansion plans, figures that defined his professional life. Yet Marcus's thoughts were elsewhere, focused on his 12-year-old daughter, Leela, who had always been his beacon of hope and joy. Leela's laughter echoed from the living room, where she was crafting an art project. Her inquisitive mind and boundless creativity reminded Marcus of his late wife, who had shared those same traits. Losing her had been the darkest chapter in his life, but it had also given him a renewed purpose, to raise Leila with values that mattered: kindness, integrity, and resilience. Marcus had built Horizon Airways from the ground up, turning it into a thriving company known for its innovation and customer service. Yet, in the quiet moments of his day, he wondered if those values were as deeply embedded in the airline's culture as they were in his personal life. That Saturday morning, Marcus had planned something special: a surprise trip to New York City. It would be Lila's first visit to the bustling metropolis. As he revealed the plan, Lila's eyes lit up with excitement. "Really, Dad? The Big Apple?" she exclaimed, dropping her paintbrush. "Really," Marcus replied with a smile. "It's just you and me this weekend. A little adventure." They arrived at the airport later that morning, and Marcus's position as CEO allowed them to bypass long lines and board directly. Lila looked around in awe at the Horizon-branded jets lined up on the tarmac, their sleek designs reflecting the morning sun. Once on board, they settled into their seats in the first-class cabin. Leila immediately pulled out a book she'd been eager to finish, her face glowing with concentration. The flight was bustling as passengers settled in, and the hum of activity filled the cabin. The incident: not long after they sat down, a stern-faced flight attendant named Clara walked briskly through the aisle, her demeanor more commanding than welcoming. Clara had been with Horizon Airways for several years, and while she excelled at operational efficiency, her colleagues often remarked on her impatience with passengers. She stopped abruptly at Marcus and Lila's row. Her sharp gaze fell on Leela, whose nose was buried in her book. "Young lady," Clara said curtly, her tone as cold as the jet's air conditioning, "you need to put that book away. We're preparing for takeoff." Startled, Leila looked up, fumbling with the book. "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize." Before she could finish, Clara grabbed the book from her hands and shoved it into the overhead compartment with a loud thud. "Next time, pay attention," she snapped. Leila's face flushed with embarrassment. She bit her lip, trying to hold back tears. Marcus, who had been adjusting his seatbelt, turned sharply toward Clara. "Excuse me," he said, his voice calm but firm. "That was unnecessary. My daughter wasn't refusing to follow instructions. She simply didn't realize." Clara crossed her arms, unfazed. "Sir, I'm just doing my job. Maybe next time, teach her to pay attention." The cabin grew quieter as a few nearby passengers glanced their way. Marcus took a deep breath, choosing not to escalate the situation. Instead, he placed a reassuring hand on Leila's shoulder. "Don't worry, sweetheart," he said softly. "Let's focus on having a good flight." Leila nodded, her father's calm presence grounding her, but the hurt lingered. This wasn't the kindness she had grown up experiencing, and it left a mark on her young heart. Reflection in the air. As the plane ascended into the clouds, Leila remained unusually quiet, staring out the window. Marcus watched her, concern etched across his face. He knew she was grappling with the encounter, trying to make sense of it. "What's on your mind, Leila?" Marcus asked gently. She hesitated, then turned to him. "Dad, I don't understand why she was so mean. I wasn't trying to cause trouble." Marcus sighed, his own disappointment surfacing. Sometimes people forget the impact their actions have on others, but how we respond to those moments is what really matters. Leila nodded, though her eyes still reflected the hurt she felt. After a moment, she reached into her backpack, pulling out a small notebook and a pen. "What are you writing?" Marcus asked. "A letter," Leila said, her voice steady. "To Horizon Airways. I want them to know how she made me feel. Maybe it will help them understand that being kind is important." Marcus's chest swelled with pride. At just 12 years old, Lila was choosing to address the situation not with anger, but with courage and grace. "That's my girl," he said with a smile. "You have a powerful voice, Leila. Use it." As she wrote, pouring her emotions into each word, Marcus reflected on the irony of the situation. He had built Horizon Airways to be a company that valued its customers, yet here was a glaring example of someone within his organization failing to uphold those values. A spark of change. When the plane landed in New York, Leila had completed her letter. It was neatly written, each line conveying her experience with sincerity and poise. She handed it to Marcus, who promised to ensure it reached the right hands. For the rest of the weekend, Marcus and Leila immersed themselves in the wonders of New York. They marveled at the towering skyscrapers, wandered through Central Park, and laughed together during a Broadway show. Yet, in the quiet moments, the incident lingered in their minds. Back at their hotel one evening, Leila looked up at her father. "Do you think my letter will really make a difference?" Marcus placed an arm around her shoulders. "Absolutely, sweetheart. Every voice matters. And sometimes, the smallest actions lead to the biggest changes." Unbeknownst to Leila, her letter was about to ignite a transformation within Horizon Airways, one that would ripple far beyond a single flight, reaching passengers, employees, and communities across the globe. Marcus had built Horizon with the belief that kindness mattered, but this experience had shown him that there was still work to be done. Inspired by Leila's courage, he resolved to take action, not just as the CEO, but as a father determined to leave a legacy of compassion for his daughter and the world. Their journey together was just beginning. Seeds of transformation. The morning after their return to Atlanta, Marcus sat at his home office desk, Leila's handwritten letter lying in front of him. The words, carefully chosen by his 12-year-old daughter, resonated deeply. They were raw, heartfelt, and brimming with a kind of wisdom that transcended her years. Marcus read the letter again, his mind already formulating a plan. He knew that this wasn't just about Clara or a single incident. It was about the culture of Horizon Airways. It was about ensuring that the values he had built the company on were not just slogans, but were actively practiced by every employee, every day. A wake-up call for the executive team. Later that day, Marcus convened an impromptu meeting with Horizon's executive leadership team. The sleek glass conference room, usually buzzing with discussions about market expansions and profitability metrics, carried a different energy as Marcus entered, Leila's letter in hand. "Thank you all for joining on such short notice," Marcus began, his tone calm but firm. "I want to share something with you, something personal." As he passed copies of Leila's letter around the table, the room fell silent. Executives leaned forward, reading the heartfelt words of a 12-year-old who had felt dismissed and hurt on one of their flights. When everyone had finished, Marcus addressed the group. "This letter was written by my daughter, Leila, after an experience with one of our flight attendants. She felt disrespected, unwelcome, and insignificant on one of our flights. The question we must ask ourselves is, how often does this happen without anyone speaking up? And what does that say about the culture we're fostering at Horizon Airways?" The Chief Operating Officer, Linda Martinez, was the first to respond. "Marcus, this is troubling. We pride ourselves on customer experience, but if this is how passengers feel, we need to reassess our training programs immediately." "Training alone isn't the answer," Marcus countered. "This goes deeper. It's about culture, about empathy being at the heart of what we do. That's what sets us apart from other airlines. We're not just in the business of transportation. We're in the business of human connection. If we fail at that, we fail entirely." Daniel Tran, the Vice President of Human Resources, nodded in agreement. "We need to listen, not just to our passengers, but to our employees. If someone like Clara is treating passengers this way, it might be a reflection of how supported or unsupported she feels in her role. Culture is top-down. It starts with us. Marcus leaned forward, his voice carrying the weight of his conviction. Then we start today. I want a full audit of our employee feedback, passenger complaints, and training methods. But more importantly, I want us to create something new, something that goes beyond fixing problems. I want Horizon to leave the industry in empathy, kindness, and respect. Let's show the world that an airline can be more than a business. It can be a force for good. The birth of the Kindness Connection. Over the next week, Marcus and his team worked tirelessly to conceptualize what they would eventually call the Kindness Connection. The initiative would be a holistic program designed to embed empathy into every facet of Horizon Airways operations. The program had 3 core components. Empathy training. Every employee, from executives to flight attendants to ground crew, would undergo comprehensive training focused on active listening, emotional intelligence, and conflict resolution. The Kindness Wall. A physical and digital space where passengers and employees could share stories of kindness they had experienced or witnessed on Horizon flights. Recognition and accountability. A new system to celebrate employees who exemplify Horizon's values, while also providing constructive feedback and additional training for those who fell short. Marcus also decided that the program needed a personal touch. He included a video message as part of the training, in which he shared Layla's story. "This isn't just about one passenger," Marcus said in the video. "This is about every person who steps onto our planes, trusting us to make their journey better. Let's never lose sight of the humanity in what we do." Clara's second chance. As the Kindness Connection began to take shape, Marcus couldn't stop thinking about Clara. He had chosen not to single her out publicly, but he knew she was at the heart of the incident that had catalyzed this transformation. If Horizon was going to live up to its new values, Clara needed to be part of the solution. Marcus asked Daniel to arrange a private meeting with Clara. When she walked into his office, her posture was stiff, her expression wary. "Mr. Johnson," she said, her voice clipped. "I understand you wanted to speak with me." "Yes, Clara. Please, have a seat," Marcus said, gesturing to the chair across from him. For a moment, there was silence as Marcus studied her. "I want to talk about the flight you worked last week, the one my daughter and I were on." Clara's face reddened, and she shifted uncomfortably in her seat. "Sir, if this is about my conduct—" "It is," Marcus interrupted gently. "But this isn't about reprimanding you. It's about understanding. Can you tell me why you reacted the way you did?" Clara hesitated before answering. "Honestly, Mr. Johnson, I was overwhelmed. We were short-staffed, and I had just dealt with 2 passengers arguing over their seats. When I saw your daughter reading during the safety announcement, I snapped. I didn't mean to be unkind, but I guess I let my frustration get the better of me." Marcus nodded. "I appreciate your honesty, Clara. But I need you to understand something. That moment left a mark on my daughter. It's moments like those that define a passenger's experience and our reputation." Clara's eyes welled up. "I'm sorry, sir. I didn't realize." "I believe you, Clara," Marcus said, "and I believe you can do better. That's why I'm asking you to be one of the first participants in our Kindness Connection mentorship program. You'll work with some of our best team members to develop skills in empathy and customer care. But more importantly, I hope you'll become an advocate for the culture we're trying to build here at Horizon." Clara looked stunned. "You still have faith in me?" "Everyone deserves a second chance," Marcus said with a small smile. "This is yours." Layla's growing voice. Meanwhile, Layla was quietly becoming a champion for the Kindness Connection in her own right. When Marcus shared the initiative with her, she was overjoyed, not just because her letter had sparked change, but because it aligned so deeply with the values she held dear. At school, Layla's teacher invited her to share her story with her classmates. Standing in front of her peers, Layla recounted the flight, her decision to write the letter, and how her father had turned her words into action. "It's easy to feel like your voice doesn't matter," Leila told the class. "But I've learned that even small actions can create big changes. And kindness isn't just about being nice. It's about showing people they matter." Her classmates were inspired. By the end of the day, several of them approached Leila with ideas for starting their own kindness initiative at school. First signs of impact. 2 months later, the Kindness Connection officially launched. Employees across the company participated in the training, and the kindness wall began to fill with stories. One passenger wrote about a flight attendant who had helped calm her toddler during a turbulent flight. Another shared how a ground crew member had gone out of their way to assist an elderly traveler with mobility issues. Marcus monitored the feedback closely, sharing the most inspiring stories with his team and with Leila. "Look at this one," Marcus said one evening, showing her a note from a passenger. "This man says our crew turned his stressful day into a moment of peace. That's the impact we're making." Leila beamed with pride. "It's working, Dad. People are starting to feel it." But Marcus knew this was just the beginning. The seeds of transformation had been planted, but it would take continuous effort to nurture the culture he envisioned. As he looked at Leila, he felt a surge of determination. They were in this together, father and daughter, united by a shared belief in the power of kindness to change the world. Momentum in the skies. Months passed since the Kindness Connection initiative was launched at Horizon Airways, and the transformation was beginning to take shape. Stories of compassion flooded the newly created Kindness Wall in both physical and digital formats. Employees across the airline started sharing their own experiences of going the extra mile for passengers, while passengers responded with heartfelt gratitude for moments of care and connection. Despite these early successes, Marcus Johnson knew the road ahead would not be easy. The culture shift required to embed empathy into every layer of the organization was a monumental task. Resistance lingered among certain employees, particularly those who had grown accustomed to a more transactional approach to customer service. Still, Marcus was undeterred. He saw the potential not just for Horizon Airways, but for the airline industry as a whole to embrace a new standard of human-centered service. Encouraged by Leila's growing involvement and passion for the mission, Marcus began to push for deeper structural changes. Clara's journey. Redemption in action. One of the first significant milestones came from an unexpected source. Clara, the flight attendant whose behavior had sparked the Kindness Connection. Since her meeting with Marcus, Clara had undergone extensive mentorship and training through the program. To her surprise, the sessions didn't feel punitive. They felt transformative. In one workshop, Clara listened to a single mother recount how a flight attendant's small gesture of kindness, a simple offer to hold her baby while she sorted her luggage, had brought her to tears. Another session involved role-playing difficult passenger interactions, helping Clara develop tools to navigate high-stress situations without resorting to impatience. Clara began to reflect on her own actions, not just on that fateful flight with Marcus and Leila, but throughout her career. She realized she had often let her own frustrations cloud her ability to see passengers as individuals with unique needs and struggles. Months after her first meeting with Marcus, Clara stepped onto a Horizon flight as a mentor for a group of new hires. She greeted passengers with a genuine smile, guided her mentees through onboarding procedures, and even found herself comforting a nervous first-time flyer by sharing her own early fears about flying. By the end of the flight, her team leader approached her. "Clara," he said, "you're the example these new attendants are looking up to. I've never seen someone turn their perspective around so completely." For the first time in years, Clara felt proud, not just of her efficiency, but of the impact she was making. Leila's school-wide kindness club. At school, Leila's story continued to resonate with her classmates. Encouraged by her father's actions and the impact of the Kindness Connection, she started the Kindness Club, where students brainstormed ways to spread positivity throughout their school community. The club began with simple gestures, creating cards for teachers to thank them for their hard work, leaving notes of encouragement in lockers, and organizing a lunchtime buddy program to ensure no student felt alone. But as word spread, the club's efforts began to grow. Local businesses donated supplies for larger initiatives, and the school principal invited Leela to speak at a district-wide leadership event. Her message was clear and impactful. Kindness doesn't have to be big or loud. It just has to be real. A single act of kindness can change someone's day, and maybe even their life. Her words ignited a movement. Soon, other schools in the district formed their own kindness clubs, and Leela found herself at the center of a growing network of young leaders dedicated to making their communities more compassionate places. A ripple effect at Horizon Airways. Back at Horizon, the effects of the kindness connection were becoming undeniable. Passenger satisfaction scores rose significantly, with surveys frequently citing the warmth and attentiveness of Horizon staff as the reason for their positive experiences. Marcus implemented a new internal awards program called the Circle of Kindness. Each quarter, employees who demonstrated extraordinary acts of care were recognized in a public ceremony and received additional perks, such as extra vacation days or professional development opportunities. One of the first recipients was Javier, a young customer service representative at Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson Airport. He had been nominated by multiple passengers after helping a stranded family find accommodations during a snowstorm. Javier not only arranged a hotel for the family, but stayed late to ensure they had transportation and food vouchers. "I wasn't doing anything special," Javier said humbly during the ceremony. "I just thought about what I'd want someone to do for my family if we were in that situation." Stories like Javier's began to define Horizon Airways' brand, attracting new customers who were eager to experience the airline's unique culture. A vision for global impact. While the changes at Horizon Airways were gaining momentum domestically, Marcus and Leela began to dream even bigger. One evening, they sat together on the back porch, discussing how to take the kindness connection to an international stage. "Dad," Leela said thoughtfully, "what if we shared stories of kindness from all over the world? Like how people in different cultures show care and respect. It could remind everyone that kindness is universal." Marcus's eyes lit up. "That's a brilliant idea, Leela. We could create something for our international flights, a program that celebrates global acts of kindness." And so, the Kindness Passport was born. Each international flight now included a booklet filled with stories of kindness from various cultures, interactive pages for passengers to jot down their own reflections, and even QR codes linking to videos of Horizon employees sharing their experiences. The program was an instant hit, sparking conversations among passengers and fostering connections that transcended language barriers. Challenges on the horizon. Despite the overwhelming success of these initiatives, not everyone was fully on board. Some employees, particularly those who had been with the airline for decades, felt the changes were unnecessary. Sarah Hartman, a senior flight attendant with 25 years of experience, voiced her concerns during a leadership town hall. "Mr. Johnson," she began, her tone respectful but firm, "I've been with Horizon since the beginning. I've seen fads come and go, and while I understand the importance of kindness, I'm worried we're losing sight of efficiency. Our job is to get passengers where they need to go safely and on time. Isn't that enough?" Marcus nodded, appreciating her candor. "Thank you for sharing your perspectives, Sarah. You're right. Safety and efficiency are non-negotiable. But what I've learned, both as a CEO and as a father, is that efficiency and kindness aren't mutually exclusive. In fact, when passengers feel cared for, they're more likely to cooperate, which can actually improve efficiency. I believe we can balance both." The room was silent as Marcus's words sank in. Sarah didn't respond immediately, but her expression softened. Over time, even the skeptics began to see the benefits of the new approach. Sarah herself had an experience that shifted her perspective when she comforted a nervous young traveler on a long-haul flight. The child, traveling alone for the first time, was in tears. Instead of simply offering a distraction, Sarah sat with him, shared stories of her own travels, and even taught him a few fun facts about airplanes. By the end of the flight, the boy was smiling, and his parents later sent a letter of gratitude. "It's funny," Sarah admitted to Marcus later. "I thought all this empathy training was fluff. But now I see it's the heart of what we do." The first annual Kindness Day. To solidify the momentum, Marcus and his team introduced Horizon's Day of Kindness, an annual event where employees across the airline participated in community service projects. From food drives to reading programs for children, the day was designed to extend Horizon's values beyond the skies and into the communities it served. Leela, of course, was at the forefront. She led a group of volunteers at a local children's hospital, organizing story time and arts and crafts sessions for young patients. One little girl, Emma, clung to Leela's hand after story time, her eyes bright with gratitude. "You're really nice," Emma said. "Will you come back?" Leela smiled, her heart swelling. "I promise I will," she said, squeezing Emma's hand. An airline with heart. By the end of the first year, Horizon Airways had undergone a profound transformation. Employees were more engaged, passengers were more loyal, and the airline's reputation as the airline with heart was spreading rapidly. For Marcus, the greatest reward wasn't the rising profits or industry accolades. It was seeing his daughter, Leela, step into her own as a leader. Her courage, compassion, and vision had sparked a ripple effect that was changing lives, one flight at a time. And this was just the beginning. Horizon was reaching new heights, with Leela and Marcus at the helm of a movement that proved kindness could soar. A global movement takes flight. The transformation of Horizon Airways was making waves far beyond the airline industry. What had started as a heartfelt letter from 12-year-old Leela Johnson was now a full-fledged movement that touched the hearts of passengers, employees, and communities around the world. But for Marcus and Leela, the work was far from over. They were determined to take the principles of kindness and empathy even further, beyond the confines of their airline and into the global sphere. A new initiative, Horizons Beyond. One brisk morning, Marcus stood before Horizon's leadership team in the glass-walled boardroom of their Atlanta headquarters. The sunrise streamed through the windows, casting golden hues across the room as he addressed the gathered executives. "It's time for us to think bigger," Marcus began, his voice resolute. "We've done remarkable work transforming the way we interact with our passengers and employees. But now, I want Horizon to be more than just an airline with heart. I want us to be a global force for good." He paused, letting the weight of his words settle before continuing. "Today, I'm introducing our next chapter, Horizons Beyond. This initiative will extend our values of kindness and empathy to underserved communities around the world. From funding education programs to creating job opportunities and supporting sustainable development, we're going to show that kindness can create lasting change." The room erupted in applause, the excitement palpable. Linda Martinez, the chief operating officer, leaned forward. "Marcus, this is exactly what we need to do. But how do we make it sustainable?" Marcus smiled. "By empowering our people to lead the charge. Every employee will have the opportunity to volunteer for projects in their own communities or abroad. And we'll dedicate a portion of our profits to fund these programs. This isn't just corporate social responsibility, it's who we are." Leela's vision for Horizons Beyond. Leela, now 13 and brimming with ideas, was an integral part of the planning process. Marcus made a point to involve her in every major decision, recognizing her unique perspective and passion for the mission. One evening, as they sat in their home office surrounded by stacks of reports and brainstorming charts, Leela shared an idea that would become the cornerstone of the initiative. "Dad, what if we create a program for kids my age?" she suggested, her eyes alight with excitement. "Something that teaches them how to lead with kindness. We could call it the Rising Horizons program." Marcus nodded thoughtfully. "Go on." "Well," Leela continued, "we could partner with schools in the communities we're helping. The program could include leadership workshops, community service projects, and even mentorship from Horizon employees. If we teach kids about kindness now, they'll carry it with them into the future. Marcus's heart swelled with pride. That's brilliant, Lila. Let's make it happen. And so, the Rising Horizons program was born. The initiative launched with pilot programs in 3 cities: Atlanta, Mumbai, and Nairobi. Each program brought together local students, Horizon employees, and community leaders to collaborate on projects that addressed local needs, from improving access to clean water to creating safe spaces for learning and play. The launch of the Mumbai Hub. One of the first major milestones of Horizons Beyond was the opening of a Horizon Hub in Mumbai. The hub was more than just a physical space. It was a community center offering resources like job training, language classes, and childcare for local families. Lila and Marcus flew to India for the grand opening, eager to see their vision come to life. The event was a vibrant celebration of culture and connection. Traditional Indian music and dance filled the air as Marcus and Lila joined local leaders to cut the ribbon. Inside the hub, families explored the new facilities, while Horizon employees worked side by side with volunteers to offer workshops and support. As Lila wandered through the hub, she met a young girl named Asha, who was clutching a well-worn notebook. "What's that?" Lila asked gently. Asha shyly opened the notebook to reveal pages filled with sketches of airplanes. "I want to be a pilot someday," she said softly. Lila's heart warmed. "You can absolutely be a pilot," she said with conviction, "and we're here to help you get there." Later, Lila shared the encounter with Marcus, who immediately decided to create a scholarship fund for aspiring pilots in underserved communities, naming it the Asha Fund after the young girl who had inspired it. Resistance and resilience. As the Horizons Beyond initiative gained traction, not everyone embraced the changes with open arms. Within the airline, some employees questioned the practicality of dedicating so many resources to community programs. Even some industry analysts expressed skepticism, suggesting that Horizon was overextending itself in a fiercely competitive market. Marcus and Lila faced these challenges head-on. At the next leadership town hall, Marcus addressed the concerns directly. "Yes, we're making bold investments," he admitted. "But these investments are in people, in our passengers, our employees, and the communities we serve. That's the kind of growth that matters, and I believe it's the kind of growth that lasts." To illustrate his point, he shared data showing how Horizon's customer loyalty had skyrocketed since the introduction of the Kindness Connection. Passengers weren't just choosing Horizon for its service, they were choosing it for its values. And those values were now inspiring partnerships with international organizations, opening doors to new opportunities. The Kindness Summit. One of Horizon's proudest moments came with the announcement of the first-ever Kindness Summit, a global conference hosted by Horizon Airways to bring together leaders, innovators, and changemakers from various industries. The summit aimed to explore how kindness and empathy could transform not just businesses but entire societies. The event was held at Horizon's headquarters, with attendees ranging from corporate executives to nonprofit leaders, educators, and even student representatives from the Rising Horizons program. Lila, as one of the youngest speakers, delivered a keynote address that left the audience awestruck. "Kindness isn't just a nice idea," Lila said, her voice steady and confident. "It's a powerful force for change. When we treat each other with empathy, we create ripples that reach places we can't even imagine. Every small act matters. Every voice matters. And together, we can make the world a better place." Her speech earned a standing ovation, and afterward, several attendees approached Marcus to express their admiration for Lila's leadership. "She's remarkable," one executive said. "It's clear she's going to take Horizon and the world to incredible heights." A ripple effect across industries. The success of Horizons Beyond and the Kindness Summit began to inspire other companies to adopt similar initiatives. A major tech firm announced its own empathy training program for employees, while the retail giant launched a community support fund modeled after Horizon's hubs. Marcus and Leela received invitations to speak at conferences around the world, sharing the story of how a single letter from a young girl had sparked a global movement. But for Marcus, the most meaningful moments were always the personal ones, watching employees embrace the mission, hearing passengers share stories of kindness, and seeing the pride in Leela's eyes as their vision came to life. The next chapter. As Horizon Airways continued to soar, Marcus and Leela knew there was still much to do. They began exploring ways to incorporate sustainability into their mission, developing eco-friendly practices that aligned with their commitment to leaving the world better than they found it. Leela also proposed expanding the Rising Horizons program to include virtual mentorship, allowing Horizon employees to connect with young leaders in remote areas. "Kindness knows no borders," she said. "We can reach anyone, anywhere." Together, Marcus and Leela worked tirelessly to ensure that Horizon's legacy would endure, not just as a successful airline, but as a beacon of hope and humanity in an ever-changing world. And as the sun set on another day of progress, Marcus looked at Leela with immense pride. "We've come so far," he said softly. "But the best part is knowing we're just getting started." Hand in hand, father and daughter walked forward, ready to continue spreading kindness wherever the winds might carry them. The tides of transformation. The changes at Horizon Airways had not only revitalized the airline, but also sparked a broader cultural shift. Employees, passengers, and communities felt the ripple effects of the kindness movement initiated by Marcus and Leela Johnson. While the successes were undeniable, new challenges arose as Horizon's mission expanded, testing their resolve and vision for the future. Scaling Horizons Beyond. The global response to Horizons Beyond was overwhelming. Communities where Horizon had established hubs thrived under the programs, with local leaders expressing gratitude for the resources and opportunities provided. Scholarships like the Asha Fund helped students in Mumbai, Nairobi, and Atlanta gain access to education and career pathways previously out of reach. However, scaling the initiative wasn't easy. Each new hub presented unique logistical and cultural challenges. In Bogota, the team struggled to navigate local regulations for implementing sustainable community projects. In a small village outside Manila, language barriers slowed the training programs. And in Cape Town, skepticism from local businesses about Horizon's intentions created hurdles in forming partnerships. Marcus and Leela, committed to making Horizons Beyond a truly global effort, flew to these locations to meet with community leaders, listen to their concerns, and adapt the programs to meet their specific needs. During these visits, Marcus leaned on Leela's natural empathy and ability to connect with people. At a town hall in Bogota, Leela addressed a group of young volunteers who had expressed doubts about their ability to create change. "You don't have to fix everything at once," she said, standing confidently before the group. "Sometimes, all it takes is one small act to make a difference. Kindness doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be real." Her words resonated, and by the end of the meeting, local youth leaders committed to expanding the program within their neighborhoods, inspiring others to join. Resilience in the face of adversity. Back in Atlanta, Marcus faced a critical moment for Horizon. A major industry competitor, Skylink Airlines, launched an aggressive marketing campaign targeting Horizon's routes and undercutting fares. Industry analysts predicted that Horizon's emphasis on values might falter in the face of such competition. The board of directors called an emergency meeting to discuss the potential financial impact. While some members suggested cutting costs by scaling back Horizons Beyond, Marcus stood firm. "Horizon has never been just about profits," Marcus said, his voice steady. "Our success comes from the trust and loyalty of our passengers and employees. That trust is built on the principles we've chosen to uphold. If we abandon those principles now, we risk losing everything we've worked for." Linda Martinez supported him. "We've already seen the long-term value of this strategy. Passengers are choosing us because of who we are, not just what we offer. That loyalty is something money can't buy. The board ultimately sided with Marcus, agreeing to maintain the company's focus on empathy-driven service while exploring innovative ways to compete with Skylink. To Marcus's relief, Horizon's reputation held strong. Passengers rallied around the airline, sharing stories on social media of how Horizon's kindness initiatives had touched their lives. A campaign led by passengers themselves, using the hashtag #FlyWithKindness, brought attention to Horizon's unique mission and countered Skylink's marketing efforts. The Second Kindness Summit. The following year, Horizon hosted its Second Kindness Summit, this time in Nairobi. The summit drew a diverse crowd of thought leaders, from corporate executives to nonprofit pioneers and young changemakers. It was here that Leela, now 14, unveiled a groundbreaking project she had been developing with Horizon's technology team, the Kindness Network app. This app will connect people who want to make a difference, Leela explained during her keynote address. It's a platform where you can share acts of kindness, organize community projects, and even find resources for starting your own initiatives. It's a way to remind us all that we're in this together, no matter where we are in the world. The app's launch was met with widespread acclaim. Within weeks, it gained tens of thousands of users, each contributing to a growing archive of kindness stories and collaborative efforts. One user in Sydney posted about organizing a neighborhood cleanup inspired by a story shared on the app. A group in Johannesburg started a tutoring program for underprivileged children, directly connecting with resources from Horizon's Nairobi hub. The Kindness Network app became a digital extension of the movement, amplifying its reach and enabling Horizon's message to transcend borders in a way that Marcus had only dreamed of. Clara's continued journey. Among the summit's attendees was Clara, the flight attendant whose transformation symbolized the impact of the kindness connection. By this time, Clara had become one of Horizon's most respected mentors, training new hires and speaking at internal events about her journey. At the summit, Clara shared her story with a room full of attendees. "I used to think that kindness was just another checkbox in customer service," she admitted. "But I've learned that it's so much more. It's a way of seeing people, not just as passengers or problems to solve, but as human beings with stories, struggles, and dreams. And in helping them, I found a new purpose in my own life." Her words moved the audience, earning her a standing ovation. For Marcus and Leela, Clara's evolution was a reminder that transformation was always possible with the right support and leadership. A partnership for sustainability. As Horizons Beyond grew, Leela proposed incorporating environmental sustainability into their mission. Kindness isn't just about how we treat people, she argued during a strategy meeting. It's about how we treat the planet, too. We can't ignore the impact our industry has on the environment. Marcus agreed, and Horizon partnered with global sustainability organizations to launch the EcoKind program, focusing on reducing the airline's carbon footprint. Initiatives included investing in fuel-efficient aircraft, offering carbon offset options to passengers, and developing eco-friendly practices at all Horizon hubs. Leela took a personal interest in EcoKind, leading campaigns to educate passengers about sustainable travel. Her passion inspired Horizon employees, who embraced the program with enthusiasm. The first Rising Horizons graduates. One of the most rewarding moments for Marcus and Leela came during a visit to Nairobi, where the first cohort of students from the Rising Horizons program was graduating. Among them was a young man named Elias, who had been part of the program since its inception. Elias had used his training to start a small business teaching computer skills to local youth. During the graduation ceremony, he approached Leela and Marcus with a letter. "This program gave me the confidence to dream bigger," Elias said, his voice full of emotion. "Thank you for believing in people like me. I promise to pass it forward." As Leela read the letter, tears welled in her eyes. "This," she said softly to her father, "is why we started all of this. The challenge of sustaining success." Despite these triumphs, Marcus knew that maintaining momentum required constant vigilance. He worked with his leadership team to establish long-term goals, including expanding horizons beyond to more countries, deepening partnerships with local organizations, and integrating empathy training into leadership development programs. At the same time, Marcus began to think about the future of Horizon Airways. He wasn't getting any younger, and he wanted to ensure that the company and its mission remained in capable hands. One evening, over dinner at home, he turned to Leela. "You've been at the heart of this journey since the beginning," he said. "Have you thought about where you see yourself in the future?" Leela smiled, her eyes alight with determination. "I want to keep building what we started, Dad. I want Horizon to be a place where kindness always comes first." Marcus felt a swell of pride. "Then I know it'll be in good hands. The future awaits." As the sun set on another day of progress, Marcus and Leela stood on the balcony of their home, looking out at the city lights of Atlanta. The journey they had undertaken together was unlike anything they could have imagined when Leela first wrote her letter. Horizon Airways was now a symbol of compassion and innovation, a shining example of how business could serve a greater purpose. And yet, Marcus and Leela knew their work was far from done. The horizon stretched endlessly before them, filled with new possibilities, challenges, and opportunities to make a difference. With renewed determination, they prepared to take the next steps on their journey, one that would continue to inspire generations and prove that kindness, when nurtured, could truly soar. A legacy in flight. Years had passed since Horizon Airways launched its transformative initiatives, and the airline had grown into a beacon of kindness and innovation. The world now regarded Horizon as much more than a transportation company. It was a global movement that inspired individuals, communities, and corporations to embrace empathy, sustainability, and social responsibility. For Marcus and Leela Johnson, the journey had been transformative, both professionally and personally. But as they stood on the threshold of a new chapter, they knew the time had come to solidify their legacy and prepare Horizon for a future without Marcus at the helm. A new generation of leaders. Marcus had always envisioned Horizon as a family, not just in its operations, but in its leadership. Over the years, he had cultivated a team of leaders who embodied the values of kindness, resilience, and vision that the company represented. At the heart of this new generation of leaders was Leela, now a young adult with a degree in business and a deep understanding of Horizon's mission. She had spent years learning every aspect of the business, from working with ground crews to leading strategic initiatives like Horizons Beyond and the EcoKind program. One evening, as they sat in the living room of their Atlanta home, Marcus broached the topic he had been considering for months. "Leela," he began, his tone reflective, "I've been thinking about the future of Horizon. I know it's time for me to step back and let someone else lead." Leela set down her cup of tea, her expression a mix of surprise and understanding. "You're thinking about retiring?" Marcus nodded. "Not completely. I'll always be here to support you and the team. But it's time for new energy, new ideas, and I can't think of anyone better to lead Horizon than you." Tears welled in Leela's eyes. "Dad, are you sure? This company is your life's work." Marcus reached out and took her hand. "And you've been a part of it from the very beginning. Your vision has already transformed Horizon in ways I could never have imagined. You're ready, Leela." The transition. The transition of leadership was carefully planned over the course of a year. Marcus worked closely with Leela to ensure a smooth handover, introducing her as the next CEO at company-wide meetings and helping her build trust with key stakeholders. At the final leadership summit with Marcus as CEO, the room was filled with employees, partners, and community leaders from around the world. The event was held at Horizon's global headquarters, now an expansive campus that included training facilities, innovation labs, and a museum dedicated to the airline's journey. As Marcus stepped onto the stage, the crowd erupted into applause. He looked out at the sea of faces, people who had been with him since the early days, and others who had joined later, drawn by Horizon's unique mission. "Thank you," Marcus began, his voice filled with emotion. It's hard to put into words what this company means to me. Horizon began as a dream to build something meaningful, something that could make a difference. Over the years, that dream has grown beyond anything I could have imagined. Thanks to all of you. He paused, his gaze landing on Leela, who was seated in the front row. Today, I am proud to pass the torch to someone who has been at the heart of this journey since the very beginning. Someone who represents the future of Horizon and everything it stands for. Please join me in welcoming your new CEO, Leela Johnson. The room erupted in applause as Leela joined her father on stage. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she hugged him, feeling the weight of the moment and the legacy she was about to inherit. Leela's vision, a global network of kindness. As Leela stepped into her new role, she brought with her a fresh perspective and ambitious plans. Her first major initiative as CEO was the Global Kindness Alliance, a network that connected Horizon's community hubs, corporate partners, and nonprofit organizations around the world. The goal was to create a collaborative ecosystem that amplified the impact of kindness-driven projects. The alliance focused on three key pillars: education, expanding the Rising Horizons program to include mentorship and scholarships for underserved youth worldwide; sustainability, scaling the EcoKind program to include renewable energy initiatives at all Horizon hubs; innovation, partnering with tech companies to develop tools that enabled communities to share resources and collaborate on large-scale projects. One of Leela's first successes with the Global Kindness Alliance was a partnership with a renewable energy company to install solar panels at Horizon's Nairobi hub. The project not only reduced the hub's carbon footprint, but also provided clean energy to nearby villages, transforming the lives of thousands. Horizon Airways, the airline of the future. Under Leela's leadership, Horizon Airways continued to innovate, blending advanced technology with its core values. The airline became the first in the industry to achieve net zero carbon emissions, thanks to its investment in sustainable aviation fuel and electric aircraft development. Leela also introduced the Kindness Class, a new ticket tier that allowed passengers to contribute a portion of their fare to Horizon's community initiatives. The program was an instant success, with passengers expressing pride in being part of a company that prioritized social impact. Passenger experience remained a top priority. Horizon introduced virtual reality in-flight entertainment that showcased stories of kindness from around the world, fostering a sense of connection and inspiration among travelers. The celebration of legacy. As the years went on, Marcus watched with pride as Horizon continued to grow under Leela's leadership. On the 25th anniversary of the airline's founding, the company held a grand celebration to honor its journey and the people who had made it possible. The event was held in Horizon's largest hangar, transformed into a stunning venue adorned with photos and memorabilia from the company's history. Employees, passengers, and partners from around the world attended, sharing stories of how Horizon had impacted their lives. During the ceremony, Marcus was presented with a Lifetime Legacy Award, recognizing his vision and the enduring impact of his work. But when it was his turn to speak, Marcus turned the spotlight back to the people who had made Horizon's success possible. "This isn't my legacy," Marcus said, his voice steady but emotional. "It's ours. Every one of you has played a role in building this company into what it is today. And I couldn't be prouder to see how far we've come, and how far we'll continue to go." He turned to Leela, his voice softening. "And to my daughter, Leela, thank you for being my inspiration. You've taken our dream and turned it into something even greater. The future of Horizon is brighter than ever because of you." The ripple effect. Horizon's impact extended far beyond its flights. The Rising Horizons program had graduated tens of thousands of young leaders who were now making their own marks on the world. The EcoKind program had inspired other airlines to adopt sustainable practices, creating a ripple effect across the industry. And the Global Kindness Alliance had become a model for collaboration, addressing global challenges through shared resources and innovation. Passengers continued to share their stories, from the grandmother whose flight attendant held her hand during a turbulent flight, to the young boy who was inspired to become a pilot after visiting a Horizon hub. Each story was a reminder of the power of kindness to transform lives, a promise for the future. One evening, as Marcus and Leela stood on the balcony of Horizon's headquarters, they reflected on the journey they had taken together. The city lights stretched out before them, a testament to the progress they had made. "Do you ever miss being CEO?" Leela asked, glancing at her father. Marcus chuckled. "Not for a second. Watching you lead, seeing the impact you've made. That's the greatest reward I could ask for." Leela smiled, her heart full. "I couldn't have done it without you, Dad. You taught me everything I know about kindness, resilience, and leadership." Marcus placed a hand on her shoulder. "And now, you're teaching the world. Keep going, Leela. The horizon is limitless." As they stood together, father and daughter, they knew their work was far from over. The legacy they had built was not just a story of success. It was a testament to the power of kindness to change the world. And with every new day, Horizon Airways continued to soar, carrying their vision to new heights. The infinite horizon. The transformation of Horizon Airways and its impact on the world had exceeded even Marcus Johnson's grandest dreams. Under Leila's visionary leadership, the airline had evolved into a symbol of compassion, innovation, and sustainability, reaching millions of lives through its initiatives. Yet for Marcus and Leela, there was still a sense of unfinished business, a belief that the true measure of their success lay not just in what they had achieved, but in how they would inspire others to continue the journey. A vision of shared leadership. One of Leela's most ambitious projects as CEO was the introduction of Horizon Fellowships, a global leadership program designed to train future leaders in the principles of empathy, sustainability, and social impact. The program sought to create a network of changemakers who could bring Horizon's values into their own industries and communities. Horizon isn't just an airline, Leela announced at the Fellowship's launch event. It's a way of thinking, a commitment to making the world kinder, more equitable, and more connected. Through this program, we want to empower leaders who will carry this mission forward in ways we can't even imagine yet. The first cohort of Horizon Fellows included individuals from diverse backgrounds. A young teacher from Senegal who wanted to improve access to education, a marine biologist from Australia dedicated to ocean conservation, and an entrepreneur from India who had created a platform to support women in rural areas. Each fellow brought a unique perspective and passion for change. Marcus, invited as a keynote speaker at the program's inaugural event, reflected on the importance of passing the torch. True leadership, Marcus said, isn't about holding on to power, it's about sharing it. The best leaders inspire others to lead, to dream bigger, and to act with courage and compassion. That's what this program is about. The Horizon Fellowships quickly became a global phenomenon, attracting partnerships with universities, governments, and international organizations. The fellows themselves became ambassadors of Horizon's mission, spreading the ripple effects of kindness and innovation far and wide. A personal mission, honoring the past. As Horizon soared into the future, Marcus found himself drawn back to his roots. He began a personal mission to document the stories of people and places that had shaped his journey. This included revisiting the small neighborhood in Atlanta where he had grown up, a place that had instilled in him the resilience and determination to pursue his dreams. On one sunny afternoon, Marcus and Leela visited his childhood home. The modest brick house stood as a testament to humble beginnings, and Marcus couldn't help but smile as memories flooded back. "This is where it all started," he told Leela, gesturing to the porch where he used to sit and dream about building something meaningful. "Every decision I made for Horizon was rooted in what I learned here, about community, about hard work, and about the power of hope." Leela listened intently, her admiration for her father deepening. "We should do something here, Dad," she said. "Something to give back to this community, where it all began." Marcus nodded, an idea forming in his mind. Together, they decided to establish the Horizon Heritage Center, a community hub focused on education, mentorship, and career development for underprivileged youth. The center would provide resources like computer labs, tutoring programs, and workshops on entrepreneurship, mirroring the values that had propelled Marcus forward. A challenge for the future. While the Horizon Heritage Center brought Marcus a sense of closure and fulfillment, Leela faced one of the toughest challenges of her tenure as CEO: an economic downturn that threatened the airline industry. Rising fuel costs, geopolitical tensions, and a global recession put immense pressure on airlines, forcing many to cut back on operations and initiatives. Leela convened her executive team in an emergency meeting to discuss their options. Some proposed scaling back community programs to preserve profits, while others suggested cutting routes to reduce costs. Scaling back is not an option, Leela said firmly, her tone leaving no room for doubt. Our values are the reason passengers choose Horizon. If we compromise those now, we risk losing everything we've built. Instead, Leela proposed a bold solution. Horizon would diversify its revenue streams by leveraging its global hubs as centers for innovation and collaboration. Each hub would host co-working spaces, conferences, and cultural events, generating additional income while staying true to the airline's mission. The strategy worked. Horizon weathered the storm, emerging stronger and more adaptable. The airline's resilience became a case study in leadership, taught in business schools and referenced in boardrooms around the world. The Horizon of Tomorrow. With stability restored, Leela turned her attention to the next frontier: space. Advances in aerospace technology had made commercial space travel a possibility, and Horizon Airways was uniquely positioned to pioneer this new frontier with its reputation for combining innovation and empathy. Partnering with leading space agencies and private companies, Leela announced the creation of Horizon Beyond Earth, a program aimed at making space travel accessible, sustainable, and inclusive. Exploration has always been part of who we are as humans, Leela said at the program's unveiling. But exploration isn't just about going farther, it's about connecting more deeply. With Horizon Beyond Earth, we want to ensure that space travel reflects the best of humanity, not just its technological advancements. The first Horizon spaceflight carried passengers from diverse backgrounds, including scientists, educators, and artists, each chosen for their potential to inspire and contribute to society. The program emphasized environmental responsibility, with plans to use part of the revenue to fund conservation efforts on Earth, a legacy cemented. Years later, as Horizon Airways celebrated its 50th anniversary, the company had become a global institution that represented more than travel. It symbolized the power of kindness, vision, and determination to change the world. The anniversary event was a grand celebration held in a state-of-the-art terminal at Horizon's Atlanta hub, featuring exhibits that chronicled the airline's journey. Marcus, now retired but still an active presence in Horizon's story, was honored with a lifetime tribute. Standing beside him on stage, Leela delivered a heartfelt speech. "Everything we've accomplished," Leela said, her voice steady but filled with emotion, "is because of my father's unwavering belief that kindness is the foundation of greatness. He taught me that leadership isn't about personal gain. It's about lifting others, about creating a legacy that outlasts us all." Marcus, moved beyond words, embraced his daughter as the audience rose to their feet in applause. A promise for generations. After the ceremony, Marcus and Leela stood together on the observation deck, watching the planes taxiing on the runways below. The horizon stretched endlessly before them, a symbol of infinite possibilities. "What's next, Leela?" Marcus asked, a smile playing on his lips. Leela looked thoughtful, her gaze fixed on the sky. "Whatever comes, Dad, we'll face it with the same values that got us here: kindness, resilience, and vision." As the sun dipped below the horizon, father and daughter shared a moment of quiet pride and gratitude. Their journey had been one of transformation, not just for Horizon Airways, but for themselves and the countless lives they had touched along the way. And though the horizon seemed limitless, they knew one thing for certain: The legacy they had built together would continue to soar, carrying the message of compassion and connection to every corner of the world and beyond. The horizon never ends. As Horizon Airways soared into its sixth decade, the world had changed dramatically. Technology, climate change, and shifting global priorities created challenges and opportunities that tested the airline's resilience and innovation. For Marcus and Leila Johnson, the legacy they had nurtured continued to evolve, reaching new heights while staying true to its roots. However, this next chapter would demand even more from them, a fusion of the past, present, and future. A turning point for Leila. Leila Johnson, now a seasoned CEO and global thought leader, found herself reflecting on the weight of leadership. While Horizon Airways was thriving, the pressures of maintaining its values amidst exponential growth and complex global dynamics began to take their toll. Leila had spent years balancing the demands of running a multinational corporation with her passion for advancing social and environmental justice. One evening, as she sat in her corner office overlooking the Atlanta skyline, Leila received a call from her father. "You sound tired," Marcus observed, his voice gentle but perceptive. Leila sighed. "I am, Dad. It's not the work. I love what we're doing. It's just, I don't want us to lose what makes Horizon special. Growth is exciting, but it feels like every decision we make is harder than the last." Marcus chuckled softly. "Leila, do you remember what I told you when you wrote your letter all those years ago? Small actions lead to big changes. That's still true, even now. Focus on the heart of what we're doing, the people. Everything else will follow." Leila nodded, feeling a renewed sense of clarity. Her father's words reminded her of why she had taken on this role: to continue building a company that made people feel valued, no matter how big it became. The Global Kindness Academy. To refocus Horizon's efforts, Leila launched the Global Kindness Academy, an ambitious project aimed at creating a permanent institution dedicated to teaching empathy and leadership. Located in Atlanta, the Academy would serve as a training ground not just for Horizon employees, but for leaders, educators, and activists from around the world. "We need to prepare the next generation to lead with heart," Leila announced at the Academy's groundbreaking ceremony. "Kindness isn't just a corporate value. It's a skill that can be taught, practiced, and perfected. And it's the most important skill of all." The Academy offered immersive workshops, courses, and mentorship programs, combining cutting-edge technology with timeless principles of compassion and collaboration. Modules included everything from conflict resolution and emotional intelligence to sustainable development and global citizenship. One of the Academy's flagship initiatives was the Empathy Exchange Program, which paired participants from different cultures and industries to solve real-world challenges together. Through this program, a tech entrepreneur from Silicon Valley might collaborate with a farmer in Kenya to address food security, or a student in Tokyo could partner with a community organizer in Brazil to develop urban sustainability projects. The Academy quickly became a global hub for innovation and kindness, attracting leaders from every corner of the globe. Expanding horizons beyond Earth. Horizon Airways' foray into space travel through its Horizon Beyond Earth program had been a groundbreaking achievement. But Leila wasn't content to stop at commercial space flights. She envisioned a future where space exploration served a greater purpose, fostering global unity and advancing scientific discovery for the benefit of humanity. In partnership with international space agencies and private companies, Horizon developed the Unity Station, an orbital research facility focused on addressing Earth's most pressing challenges. From climate modeling and renewable energy research to medical advancements and food security, the station became a symbol of collaboration and hope. To ensure accessibility, Horizon offered scholarships and fellowships to researchers and students from underserved regions, making sure that the benefits of space exploration were shared equitably. During the Unity Station's inaugural launch, Leila spoke to the gathered audience, her voice filled with conviction. "Space is more than the final frontier. It's a reminder of our shared humanity. Up there, borders disappear, and what remains is a collective responsibility to care for our planet and each other. The Unity Station became a beacon of global cooperation, its discoveries making tangible improvements in the lives of millions on Earth. A new challenge: the climate crisis. As the climate crisis intensified, Horizon Airways found itself at the forefront of the airline industry's response. The company's Eco-Kind program, which had focused on carbon offsets and fuel efficiency, now evolved into a comprehensive environmental strategy. Leela spearheaded the development of Horizon Net Zero, an ambitious plan to achieve not just carbon neutrality, but a net positive environmental impact by 2050. This included investing in biofuel innovation, implementing fully electric short-haul aircraft, and creating regenerative ecosystems around Horizon hubs. One of the program's most innovative projects was the Living Airports Initiative, which transformed airport grounds into green spaces that supported biodiversity and served as carbon sinks. Atlanta's airport, Horizon's flagship hub, became the first living airport in the world, complete with solar farms, wetlands, and community gardens. The initiative inspired other industries to adopt similar practices, cementing Horizon's reputation as a leader in sustainability. A personal journey for Marcus. While Lila led Horizon into the future, Marcus began a deeply personal journey. He decided to write a memoir, documenting the airline's evolution and the lessons he had learned along the way. The book, titled The Horizon of Kindness, became a bestseller, touching readers with its blend of storytelling and wisdom. In the book, Marcus reflected on pivotal moments, including the day Leela handed him her letter. That letter, he wrote, was more than a call for change. It was a reminder that every voice matters, no matter how small, and that change always begins with courage. Marcus also embarked on a speaking tour, sharing Horizon's story with audiences around the world. During one event, he was approached by a young entrepreneur who thanked him for the inspiration. "Because of you and Leela," the entrepreneur said, "I started my own company based on kindness. We're changing lives, one step at a time." Marcus smiled, knowing the ripple effect of Horizon's mission continued to grow. Passing the torch again. As Horizon Airways approached its 75th anniversary, Leela began thinking about the company's future leadership. Just as her father had trusted her to carry the torch, she wanted to ensure that Horizon remained in the hands of leaders who embodied its values. Leela announced the creation of the Horizon Leadership Collective, a diverse team of executives, employees, and community representatives who would collaboratively guide the company's direction. This innovative governance model ensured that Horizon's mission would always reflect the needs and aspirations of the people it served. "Leadership isn't about one person," Leela said. "It's about shared vision and shared responsibility. The Horizon Leadership Collective will ensure that our legacy of kindness and innovation endures for generations." A celebration of legacy. On the evening of Horizon Airways' 75th anniversary, Marcus and Leela stood together at a gala held in the Unity Terminal, a state-of-the-art spaceport that had become Horizon's flagship hub. The event was attended by employees, passengers, and leaders from around the world, each carrying their own stories of how Horizon had touched their lives. As the night unfolded, Marcus and Leela took the stage together for the final address. 75 years ago, Marcus began, his voice filled with emotion. Horizon Airways was just a dream. Today, it's a symbol of what we can achieve when we lead with kindness and purpose. Leela continued, her gaze sweeping across the audience. "This legacy isn't just ours. It belongs to everyone who believed in the power of compassion to change lives. And as we look to the horizon, we know that the best is yet to come." The audience rose to their feet in applause, a standing ovation that lasted long after Marcus and Leela left the stage. The horizon never ends. As father and daughter stood together, watching the celebration unfold, they reflected on the journey that had brought them here. What began as a single letter had grown into a movement that touched every corner of the globe and beyond. "Do you think we've done enough, Dad?" Leela asked softly. Marcus smiled, his eyes filled with pride. We've done more than enough, Lila. But the horizon never ends. There will always be more to do, more lives to touch, more dreams to pursue. And that's the beauty of it. Hand in hand, they watched as the next generation of leaders stepped forward, ready to carry the mission of kindness into a limitless future. Together, they knew that the legacy they had built would continue to soar, proving that compassion, when nurtured, could truly transform the world.